In the last video, I made a case for a simple but often overlooked step when you're seeking personal growth, checking in with yourself every day, not just when things are hard. Today, I want to get practical because check in with yourself is good advice that means almost nothing without a way to actually do it. So today, I'm going to walk you through a framework I use with my clients and in my own life called the Spaces Practice. It takes just a few minutes and it works whether you're activated or calm. And over time, it does something that no single session or insight can do on its own. It builds the relationship with yourself. My name is Michelle Shelton. I have 15 years experience in corporate HR and I'm an ICF accredited coach. And I work with mid-career professionals who are performing well on the outside, but have quietly lost access to themselves under sustained pressure. Spaces is a framework that I developed from internal family systems principles, from my own experience, from reaction to self-leadership, and in the work that I do with my clients navigating stress, burnout, and patterns that won't seem to shift no matter how hard they try. Each letter in this framework stands for a step, and together they create something that goes beyond a stress management tool. They create a daily practice of self-leadership. Let me walk you through each step. The first letter is S for space. So that first step is simply to pause. One breath, one moment of stepping back from whatever is happening in your experience. This isn't about creating distance from yourself. It's about creating relationship with yourself. There's a difference between running from your experience and turning toward it from a place of steadiness. And space is what makes that possible. The next letter is P for permission. So once you've paused, the second step is to give yourself permission. Permission for whatever is here to be here. Not permission for it to take action or to lead, but simply permission to exist. This is an act of honesty about what's actually happening in your system, because trying to hide it, deny it, or push it past it does not make it go away. It just sends it underground, where it continues to drive behavior without your awareness. So permission sounds like this is allowed to be here. That's it. Nothing more complicated than that. And as you offer that permission, as you stop fighting what's actually present, something often shifts. The experience doesn't necessarily go away, but it gets a little more room. And that room is what makes the next step possible. So the next letter is A for acknowledging. You're acknowledging resistance. Permission almost always surfaces another energy, right? Something else. A response to what you've just allowed to be seen. So it might sound like, I shouldn't feel this way. This isn't a big deal. I just need to push through. Or other people have it worse. Or it might show up more subtly as a tightening or a closing off or an urge to move on to the next thing. This is resistance, and it matters enormously because resistance is rarely random. It's a signal that somewhere inside of you, two things are in conflict. A part that's carrying something real, exhaustion, fear, grief, anger, and another part that believes it isn't safe, appropriate, or useful to feel that thing. So this is called a polarization, and polarizations are what keep us stuck, not the original feeling, the war between that feeling and the part that refuses to let it be there. So in this step, you're not trying to resolve the resistance or talk yourself out of it. You are simply acknowledging it. There's something here that doesn't want me to feel this. Naming it, seeing it clearly is often enough to let it relax slightly. Not to disappear, to relax, to soften. And that relaxation is what opens the door to curiosity. So the next letter in our framework is C for get curious. So from that acknowledgement, from acknowledging the resistance, you move into curiosity. Open curiosity, not the kind that's searching for an answer, the kind that's genuinely interested. A helpful place to start for me is to start with sensation. So I just ask, what do I notice in my body? And I'm scanning and noticing for sensations. And then emotions, what emotions are here? And then thoughts, right? Sensations, then emotions, then thoughts. And over time, you start to recognize your own patterns. And when you can recognize a pattern, you are no longer completely inside of it. So here's what that can look like in practice. You might notice active energy in your core at the same time that you notice the emotion of overwhelm. Then you notice thoughts like, this is too much, I can't, I'll never, right? And as you build this familiarity with your system, you can see it for what it is, an experience of overwhelm, not a truth about yourself, right? Those thoughts are not truths, they're part of this experience. The overwhelm is here. So the next letter is E, for engage gently. And this is where the relationship deepens. As you stay with what's here, you might gently ask, what does this part want me to know? You're not trying to solve anything. You're staying with what's here. You are offering your presence. You let that part feel, perhaps for the first time, that it doesn't have to manage everything alone. And this is where you start to build the secure internal attachment that we talked about in the last video. You're showing up as a compassionate witness. You're not fixing, you're not managing, you're just remaining with. This is the step that builds trust and relationship, not through grand gestures, through consistent, gentle connection. And each of the preceding steps created the safety for that connection to really happen. So our last letter is S, and this is where you step forward. From that grounded, connected place, you take one wise action, not a reaction, not a performance, not what you think you should do, not a knowledge of what's going to happen from the beginning to the end. One small conscious step that comes from connection with yourself rather than from the pressure to manage, to fix, or control. And here's the part that most people don't expect. The most important time to practice spaces is not when you're in crisis. It's when nothing is wrong. Think about what happens when you only show up for yourselves at the moment of peak stress. The part that's been carrying the anxiety, the urge, the reactivity, it's already in full activation. The nervous system is already running the old pattern. The window for conscious choice has narrowed. You are showing up to a situation that's already in motion. But when you practice spaces on an ordinary Tuesday morning, when there's nothing urgent to manage, no crisis to navigate, no behavior to correct, you're doing something different. You are building the relationship before you need it. You are showing your inner system, I'm here, even when things are fine. This isn't just a crisis response. This is a consistent relationship. And that changes everything about how your parts respond when things do get hard. Because trust isn't built in the moments of crisis. Trust is built in the quiet moments when you showed up anyway. I want to share something that happened recently with the client's permission, and the details generalized to protect her privacy. Between our previous session and our most recent one, she had committed to a daily check-in using the spaces practice. And when she came in, something was different. She described a new kind of clarity, not intellectual clarity, but something more embodied. She could see more distinctly than before the different influences operating inside of her. Which part was driving a particular behavior? What was that part actually concerned about underneath the surface? And here's what struck me the most. She said that those parts had less power over her over that week. Not because she had fought them, not because she had managed or controlled them more skillfully, but because she had been showing up for them daily, consistently, without an agenda. That shift from parts driving behavior to parts informing behavior opened the door to deeper change in our session than we had been able to access before. That's what daily contact does. It doesn't just make you feel better in the moment. It reorganizes the relationship between you and your inner world over time. So here's what I want to suggest. For the next 7 days, give yourself 5 minutes in the morning before the demands of your day take over and move through the spaces steps. Not perfectly, not with any particular goal, just with presence. Notice what's here, offer space, give permission, acknowledge any resistance, get curious about what's happening, and then engage gently. And then take one wise step forward and do it again the next day. In the next video, I'll guide you through a full spaces practice as a meditation so you can experience it rather than just understand it. The parts of you that have been driving the patterns you want most to change, they are not your enemies. They are looking for a leader. And spaces is how you become that leader. Not once, not when things get loud, every day in the quiet before you need it. That's how trust gets built. And that is how patterns actually shift. This is the way to come home to yourself.